How do we actually create pipelines and opportunities for people so that they can be the most successful? Hi, everyone. My name is Anthony Whitten. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I currently serve as the Director of Diversity Admissions at the Haas School of Business at the University of California, Berkeley. In my current role at Haas, I work with each of the admissions teams, undergraduate and graduate, to really think about how do we actually reduce barriers and systemic inequalities in our admissions processes so that we're actually cultivating diverse and robust communities for our students. For some parts of that, it's direct outreach and recruitment to candidates who might be applying. Other places, it's developing programming like the Thrive Fellows program, which is a program we started for Latinx individuals who are thinking about an MBA, who may not be sure, understand what it looks like, or understand the process. Our programs all use a holistic review where we look at academics, professional journey, or leadership, as well as also personal qualities. If you're thinking about applying to our undergraduate business program, there are a number of different pathways you can actually apply. We do offer a direct admit pathway, which basically means if you're a high school senior and you're applying to college, you can apply to UC Berkeley and apply to be a business major directly. There is an additional application supplement you have to do to apply to Haas. Our focus there is really thinking about why are you choosing the business major, but then also thinking about what impact might you want to have in the world. If you are thinking about applying to our graduate programs, there are also different pathways that you could pursue in that way. Deferred MBA program, it's a pathway for people who want to apply early but still want to go out in the world and get their work experience. So you apply to that program. If you're accepted, you have 2 to 5 years to go out in the workforce and actually gain your experience to come back and then do your MBA. If you choose to apply after you graduate from your undergrad program, there is no work experience requirement, but typically our preference is that some candidates come with at least 2 to 3 years for our full-time MBA program. You might want to think about what stories you have professionally, what examples you have in order to share with your classmates. One of the big conversations we have at Haas is that it's not enough just to admit a diverse group of students here, but once they're here, you actually also have to take care of them. Well, Haas has actually made a really strong commitment around DEI/JB just in terms of our structure. I'm not the only person who works in DEI at Haas. There are a team of 5 of us who work across different verticals to help support students in the admissions process. I have a colleague who works directly with staff to help build their capacity in terms of helping students actually have belonging and making sure we're becoming an inclusive environment. I have a colleague who works with faculty to support them in terms of making their classrooms, both in terms of their content more diverse, but also the classroom experiences for students to be more equitable and fair in their everyday practices. I have a colleague who also works with our staff and alumni, and then we have our main boss who works across the entire school in terms of strategy and at the dean's level to really inform how diversity is happening at Haas. As I think about our program, I think the thing that I really appreciate is just how deep we go in the topic. And the fact that I don't have to work across 3 different areas allows me to really do really strong work in the admission space so that when we look at the outreach, when we look at our evaluation, when we look at our yield, we are making sure that we're doing equitable processes that aren't discriminatory towards people who have often been marginalized in admissions processes, but also in just greater society. We get to have a stronger focus in really thinking about who we are and what our values are and how we want that to resonate within the community. One of our national partners, the consortium, a national organization really centered around producing more diverse business leaders, and particularly the members of the organization are really focused around increasing the number of Black, Latinx, and Native American business leaders in the world. Although you don't have to be of that background to actually be a part of the consortium. But I mention them because one of the major ways that they pivoted is that in the past, you had to be a U.S. citizen to participate in that program. And this last year, they've actually opened it up to include DACA recipients in that application pool. So for anybody who's thinking about how do you actually take time off and leave your job to go to school, and how do you pay for school, how do you navigate the loans, that is a pathway that some people can choose to pursue, where you would receive a full fees tuition and scholarship if you're selected by the schools as a part of your MBA experience. The new thing I would actually say that I'm noticing right now is there are more people who are writing letters of recommendation using AI. What we're looking for are specific examples in terms of the questions we ask in those letters of recommendation. And so when you do that, it doesn't actually lend itself to being a really powerful endorsement of both your leadership or your impact or your trajectory, which I think candidates miss out on in terms of thinking about their overall process. Be afraid to reach out to the admissions teams and ask questions. Figure out what the financial aid community looks like and where you can ask those questions as well. It's not enough just to think about how you're going to get in, but it also is important to think about how you're going to pay for it, how you're going to be supported either through scholarship, work study, in terms of actually making it affordable for you. I also just wanted to offer up myself as a resource. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm always happy to support applicants in any type of phase of their journey in terms of whether or not it's undergrad or graduate programs, to either talk through their options, talk through what might exist, or see how I can support them. My favorite Haas story actually is a month here, I was working on a recruitment event for incoming students. During the day of the event, I went to the panel, listened to the panelists introduce himself, and then one of the students said their name, and I was like, I knew them. Typically at this point in my life, it's really like, when did I teach them and where? The current MBA student was a student who was in the class where I student taught in Virginia when they were in 6th grade. As I think about my memorable moments at Haas, it's like, it just helped me realize how small the world is and really thinking about how interconnected we are.